If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune into the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on? They'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
What's up, St. Louis? We're back with another episode of the STL Bucket List Show. I am your host, Lucas Farrell. Marissa, my wife, couldn't make it to this episode. She had to get some work done, do something. I'm not exactly sure, but hey, she'll be back next week after we get back from vacation. But we got a very special episode. But before we get into it, I want to shout out my friends at the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis. They're the largest public funder of arts and art programming right here in St. Louis, because more people support art in St. Louis than sports, which is actually crazy, but there's a lot of free art. There's a lot of stuff to do in St. Louis to support art. And one of those shows is coming up pretty soon, which is one of the most badass shows in St. Louis. So I got Dave Farver on here, and then I got Bill Reiter, two members of El Monstero, and many other bands in St. Louis as well.
More, yeah. Dave is looking at a baker's dozen, I think. I'm only in like 3 bands.
You're only in 3.
But
so let's start with
Dave.
Let's start with Dave then. Dave, how many bands are you in?
Well, several, a lot of cover bands and a couple of original bands. So,
and you play the saxophone. So how long have you been playing the saxophone? Tell us a little bit about your journey to kind of getting into this world.
Well, I started out playing, in school band, 7th grade, and played in the jazz band. And then I went to college and played in all the bands that they make you play in, marching band for the scholarship, and then I would play on the weekends to make ends meet and stuff. So, but as far as currently, I mean, I've been doing that ever since. Mm-hmm. Many years. I don't even say how many years it's been.
I know. Can you tell us?
Since high school.
Late 70s.
Well, no, let's say early 80s at least. Jesus. But
that's funny.
Anyway, so yeah, I've just played in all kinds of bands. I was in a band called Sunsawed in Half, and we toured around a little bit in the Midwest. And well, about the time the Urge was starting out, I guess, right about that time in the 90s. So recently, I've been getting involved with a band called Guerrilla Theory, which I'm really excited about. Great local guys. They're kind of a mix of Sublime, Red Hot Chili Peppers, nice. 311,
I like that
kind of a thing. Yeah. Reggae, hip hop, funky stuff. So.
That's good to let the sax go. You can let the sax go crazy on some of those beats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And singing some with them, and we're writing some stuff. And
nice.
So it's pretty exciting.
That's cool. So, Bill, you play the keys.
I do.
Tell us about kind of your journey to kind of getting into the keys. I mean, were you a childhood musician as well?
Yeah, I'd say very similar to Dave. I played piano was, I think, the first thing that I started picking out when my great aunt lived in Dupo, Illinois, and we'd spend every Sunday there. And she had this ancient piano, and I would just kind of get in there and start trying to pick things out by ear. So that was the first time I ever took lessons for anything. But then I started playing saxophone in right at 5th grade-ish, same time when almost everybody does. And so I've just been playing a little bit of everything ever since. But yeah, so I started playing trying to make noise on things when I was a very, very small child.
Mm-hmm. And then did you get into bands like right in high school? Like you were in a band in high school?
It wasn't. We never really made it. I was in a couple of different bands, and one was like grown men, and I was 16. I could drive, but I was 16 maybe, and these dudes played gigs, and my job I was going to be backup guitar and keyboards, and also play saxophone on a couple of things. And they had a woman who sang, they did a lot of Pat Benatar kind of Lita Ford type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I went to rehearsals, and every time they tried to book a gig, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm in the school play. I can't do it."
Yeah, I can't.
And so they canned me immediately. They're like, "Well, this is not going to work out." But it was fun. It was cool. I had a little crate combo amp, and
nice.
My Ibanez guitar, and I'm like, I'm in a band, man.
When crate amps actually look like crates.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's funny.
And I had, I was in a couple of bands in college, and that's actually how I met the guys in the Urge. And but yeah, my band in college played fraternity parties.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
Fun days. And it's crazy to look back at the journey because, I mean, you guys have both, been in music for God knows how long now. A lot of years. I'm not calling you guys old, but I'm not also calling you guys young. But
give it a rest already.
But like, tell me about the ups and downs as a musician, because as you get into, you guys were playing music in the 90s. There was a lot of people buying CDs, buying stuff. Now people don't buy music as much anymore. So like those ups and downs, it's like a live music era. Like you have to play, and it becomes to the point where it's like, dude, I got kids, I got family, like I can't keep playing every night. But tell us about those ups and downs, and like tell us maybe share some of your highest moments so that the crowd can get excited.
Interesting.
Industry wide, it's a problem right now because everything can be gotten online for free. So, and whether anybody shared it or not, even if you're on a real thing like Spotify, I mean, it's like 0.008
It's not a lot of money
per stream. So, for example, what was that song by Pharrell that was so big?
Happy.
As
I'm happy.
It made like $3,000 in streams. And maybe the biggest song of the decade.
That's amazing.
Probably the biggest song.
That would be a $10 million song 20 years ago.
He made a shitload of money, of course. Movies and TV shows and advertising.
Just being
but
in the
that's
movie.
just to give you sort of a
right. The streaming,
an idea,
the art and the work and the effort of writing original music and recording it, and making and all of the processes that are involved in mixing it and mastering it and making it sound amazing, and it is for the most part given away for a pittance, and also played on the dumbest, smallest speaker that you can find, or on your phone, or in like earbuds that are kind of terrible and have no low end response. And it is troubling to me from a philosophical standpoint that it seems so disposable now. Mm-hmm. So that is a drag. I will say that vinyl has made a huge comeback.
Yeah, it has.
And in terms of people who, I think there's a smaller group of people who give a damn. And they are buying music in droves, right? I think that the average person probably
the purists, the audiophiles.
Yeah, because I buy stuff like a madman.
You buy
like if I can, I'll buy records that I've never even listened to. Like if I'm at a show and they have an album, I'd buy it. I go, great, this is awesome.
That and
good for you.
To support the guys,
exactly right.
They're going to get some money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I noticed that, I'm 27, but in high school, people thought like vinyls were cool again. So everybody was buying vinyls, and I went out to Vintage Vinyl and I bought all these vinyls. They're still in the paper, but it's like, you're right. Like you get to read it. Like my mom used to go to this store in Ferguson. She's listening right now, I'm sure, but there's a store called Peaches in Ferguson.
Absolutely.
You know it?
Absolutely.
You know it? Yeah. So she would go up there. She was, probably this was like when in the 60s or 70s, and you would go get an album, and then you would watch it, you would listen to it, but then you would read it.
Totally.
And that was like your entertainment. Where us, like we can get a music video on TikTok, and then we're looking at another music video, and then another music video, and then another music video. It's like you guys only had access to literally what you had in your hand at that moment. And I think that people take advantage of it, and it's also easier to make music probably now. It's probably easier to put something out, you think? Or
it's easier to
put
something out.
You can record at home.
It's easier to get it in front of people.
Yeah, like I could put something on SoundCloud right like tonight if we recorded right here in this room. So I think that could be a reason, but I think it's really sad because I love music and I don't want less people to do it, but it's it's a hard career to get into, I'm sure.
I think conversely though, people are more apt to go see a band to get that the real sound, not only the visceral experience of being with the band, in the room with the band while they're doing the thing, but the sound quality, they're actually getting all the highs, all the lows, everything in between.
Yeah, this sounds amazing. This doesn't sound like my phone at all.
And then you get to see the guys, and a lot of times you can access them too. Like you guys go around town, like people will see you and be like, dude, like badass, and like, being able to like have that experience, because when you were a kid playing keys or playing the saxophone, like you would look up to these people, and if you could have an opportunity to just pull them aside and talk to them.
Absolutely.
So you a big blues guy then, or blues or everything?
Me personally, no. I mean, it's a stepping stone to get into music because it's usually 3 chords.
Yeah.
And
so it's easy to step right in and when you're trying to improvise, like saxophone is an improvisorial instrument.
Improvisation.
And a guitar and keyboards. I mean, but anyway, a lot of times you'll throw a sax solo on something. You're not playing all the way through like you would a guitar.
Right.
So yeah, that's the entry ticket is you can play over the blues fairly easily because you only have to play in 3 different keys. Mm-hmm. So and it's the most of the bulk of the song is 1 key, but you only have to change chords 3 times. So, but as far as you're asking about the blues, I mean it's the basis for all American music, really. I mean it is the first thing, and unfortunately it took the British to teach us to have some, well, and Pink Floyd is a great example. Yeah. I'm reading a book about who did that? Syd Barrett, and when they were first starting out, they were covering a lot like Hawkins, Lightning. Is it Lightning Hopkins or something like that? There's 3 or 4 blues guys that they loved, and the British loved them, and that British invasion thing was because it's one of those examples of you don't appreciate some things that you're surrounded by, but if it seems exotic and it's in another part of the world, it's like, oh, this is
that's cool. Awesome. Let me try it.
So they kind of like reminded us how amazing the blues is, and so much of rock and roll is obviously based on.
St. Louis is a blues city too. I mean, there's so much history in this city, and still, and it doesn't get enough credit. It doesn't get enough credit, because I really was talking to somebody on here. Dave Beardsley, he started the National Blues Museum. I think he was one of those guys, but he does like the B3 Festival over in Soulard. And he was saying like, I was telling him, I was like, New Orleans has their thing, Memphis has their thing, but St. Louis never niched down to their thing. And we just and spread it to the world. Like, this is our music. Everybody's doing everything. Everybody's trying to do this. And, like we got Nelly. Nelly like is out there doing like that's St. Louis music, but like he put it on the map for a little bit.
Well, true.
And I'm sure you guys know more. Like I'm not into band culture as much as you guys, but there's if you want to educate us on some bands that have really been crushing it out of St. Louis.
Well, Tina Turner was not born in St. Louis.
Okay.
But Tina Turner, that band made their bones in St. Louis for sure, and
my dad used to see her.
They're a huge part of the.
Well, Chuck Berry, obviously.
And Chuck Berry is Miles Davis is another one who is St. Louis. The origin story, his origin story musically is in St. Louis. So there's St. Louis has always been part of it. Going back as far as popular music can go, or whatever you call rock or pop or whatever. But Tina Turner, shout out to Tina Turner because
David Sanborn, Michael McDonald,
Michael McDonald, great one. Yeah. Dave Farver.
Who the hell is that? No, I'm just kidding.
I do want to touch briefly.
I met that guy today.
If we can, on we were talking about the 90s in the music industry. It was so. I want to just mention that it was so bloated. And no, really. I mean, the
costs, 90s when you guys
the costs of things people like to blame technology for the collapse of the record industry, but it was
the opposite
going to happen one way or the other. Like things cost too much, it took too long, and basically if you didn't make it, then you were kind of screwed, right? So the one good thing about the current mode, for lack of a better word, is it's a little more egalitarian, like you were saying, right? Like it's easier to get music in front of people in a professional manner, and it sounds cool. You go, oh, cool, I like this band. And then you can connect with that band that way.
Where back in the 90s, you'd have to get money behind it.
It would basically be impossible, right? Yeah, I mean, you
couldn't be an independent artist.
It was very, very difficult.
Recording was so expensive.
And now you guys can all do stuff in your houses.
That's
everybody's got a studio now that's capable, I'm sure, to do stuff.
And you can do amazing stuff.
So that's the good thing about it, right? Yeah. When people talk about Napster and streaming and file sharing and all that jazz, really it was going to happen one way or the other. It wasn't necessarily technology's fault. It was the record industry's fault, largely.
Yeah.
That's my opinion anyway.
I agree.
So how long have you guys known each other?
It's since the 90s, easy. Yeah.
And that's how we met. I mean, I didn't really know you from the Urge. I'd seen the Urge.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you back then.
Yeah. We didn't hang out much, but we played together certainly in the early 90s, no question. Sunsawed in Half and the Urge shared the stage a few times. And
Lynx Club?
I feel like we played Mississippi Nights. I feel like Sunsawed in Half opened for the Urge of the Mississippi Nights.
We did play there a few shows.
But
I remember.
Yeah, I mean, and then El Monstero 1.0 and the Urge shared a rehearsal space essentially, like in 1999, right, and 2000.
Right.
And we would
Was
run
that
into
in
each other.
Overland?
Yeah, we would run into each other on the way into and out of town.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
But yeah, then ever since, I think my first El Monstero was 2003.
Okay.
I think that's right.
El Monstero.
So I think
The
this
original-
might actually be my 20th year doing it.
The original El Monstero was based on the band
right.
Stir.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Brad Booker played drums and
Andy
who else
Schmidt
was in there. Andy Schmidt was a guitar player.
and
that was
our
in,
fearless leader
that was
Kevin
in
Gagnon.
99.
That's right.
99 was the very first one. So the reason for the band
tell us
to
about the
begin
origin a
with
little bit,
was
yeah.
the Stir. I keep calling the Stir. It's
Stir.
just called Stir. They had a record contract. They couldn't play in any other bands contractually. So they would, I think they even wore masks.
I think that might have been
Did they wear masks?
a bit of a
Oh,
bit.
okay.
I don't know if
Anyway,
that's true, but that was the story.
They
At
used to
any
play
rate.
at Boomers.
Yeah.
They started doing it like once a month or something as a cover thing.
Yeah.
Just as kind of as a goof, but it was so good that people were packing the place. So like, let's expand it a little bit. So that's when they decided to do it at Mississippi Nights, and they added me, and they added Ermini and Tandra, the background singers, and what's the guitar? Darren
Pierce?
Darren Pierce
on keyboards,
was the keyboard player.
Wonderful.
So they added
keyboard
people, and Mark also.
Yeah.
So
Mark was in the original foursome. Mark played Boomers,
Oh, okay.
where there's never a cover,
Right.
always a fight. In the
That's
immortal
right.
words of
Okay, right. So he wasn't
Jerry
added
Jones.
for the Mississippi Night Show. But anyway, so and did they wear masks?
Absolutely.
I think
they
they
were like
did.
kind of Mardi Gras-ish looking
Yeah.
deal.
Oh,
Yeah.
they had the Joker mount. Not the Joker.
Right.
Yeah, kind of like a
Yeah.
Like Here Comes the Mummies.
Yeah.
That band has to.
So nobody knew who they were and stuff like that, really? I mean,
Yeah,
it
they
just-
have to.
everybody knew who they were.
Yeah. It wasn't a secret.
I think it's I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish
Who
Kevin were
knows if
here.
it was
I think that was a bit.
important that they had to worry about it.
But-
But anyway,
It makes for a good
it
story.
was a good
Right.
excuse to wear masks. I
right.
don't know.
Yeah.
And were they Mexican wrestling masks?
The name was the full name was El Monstero y los Masked Avengers,
Correct.
and the way I recall it was the masks were more kind of
Lone Ranger type?
theater, like like Mardi Gras-ish looking.
We'll have to.
type.
We'll find a
okay.
picture. We'll
Yeah,
put the
we're gonna
picture
have to
on the
do-
screen.
Oh, yeah,
We're trying to describe
There's
the
gotta
picture
be.
to the people that are listening.
There's got to be.
So that was El
picture
Monstero.
Yeah.
That was 1999. So you
It
were
doesn't
there, or
Yeah,
you
for the
were
very
there for the
first,
very first show, and
very
you've
first
been
show.
there consistently for the last 24
Yeah,
or so
and
years.
And that very first show, he gave me a wireless mic, which I'd never used before. I never had the pleasure. And he said, "You're wireless. You should just get down in the aisle and walk right the hell out of the club."
Playing.
I said, "Cool. That sounds like a great time." Yeah. So, unfortunately, I didn't know you had to turn the mic on. So I was standing there thinking I was being cool and stuff. Nothing was coming out.
Nobody
of the
was looking
PA.
at you.
Andy Schmidt had to come over and
That's
turn
funny.
my pack on
Yeah.
because
That's
I'd
great.
never used them before.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I jumped off the stage and I played down the aisle and I went on out.
Yeah.
And pretty much since then, I've gone out in the audience and played.
Yeah.
And at the pageant, there's a rail
Yeah.
where everybody puts their drinks. And the first time I did it, we didn't have anybody to clear the drinks. So and it was way more rock and roll. I wasn't kicking them off, but I was trying to tiptoe, but I would knock some drinks
Knocking
off,
them off, yeah.
And it was like,
Cool.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is happening,
Yeah.
So almost ever since then, I go out and run around.
So you guys create like this crazy experience like every time. So what goes into that? Like starting in 1999, like how has it evolved? How many shows have you done? Like there's just a lot of stuff that's changed over the years, but like
Yes.
just give us a little bit, like give the listeners, because I mean the show's coming up on July 8th.
Yeah.
This episode comes out, so in a few weeks people are going to be able to experience this summer and then probably again this winter. But just tell us about the experience that people can get.
The kind of, how do I put this? Like the mission statement in a very real way is to give people and I've said this a million times. Somebody could do a supercut of me saying this, is to give people the biggest concert experience we can manage and not have people have to pay $300 to see it, which is also kind of ridiculous, right? Speaking of music industry trends. Mm-hmm. So the idea, part of the idea behind it is like, hey, if we just we could do this for $20. What kind of crazy shit can we put on the stage if X amount of people show up for $20? And then we kind of go, okay, well,
you put it on the paper you're looking at.
Here, all right, we can have this explode and we can have that video. That video has to be a little bit smaller or else we charge $30. So the ticket price and the experience are very kind of married to each other in terms of what can we do. We don't want to raise ticket prices for no good reason, right? We wouldn't do that because the idea of it is to give people a very high level concert experience and
make it accessible for people.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very much part of it. It's because that's on a secondary level, it's something that I feel like we're kind of doing for the city and for, we're like, hey, this is cool. You want to watch some shit blow up and we're going to play 3 hours of cool music. And, it's not going to be $1 million. So that's part of it, right? Part of it is how do we construct this for the budget that we have? And then the second step is essentially, all right, what kind of songs are we going to play? There's the catalog of Pink Floyd is so broad, so varied, the different eras of it. How are we gonna stitch this together into a show that makes sense? And
every show is different.
We have very rarely repeated ourselves. It's been several years since we kind of did the same thing, and even when we do the Christmas shows, we change up those set lists a little bit. We'll have slots in the show where we can interchange things. We're saying, oh, we're going to put this song and we're going to switch it for this song in this one spot type of thing.
Usually deep cuts for the heads, people that are dyed in the wool Pink Floyd fans. That's for the special little gifts for them.
For the groups, and they just sit there and they're like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, right. I've seen people go
mind blown.
I can't believe that. So that's pretty much the origin of the stage show as it is right now. Like it's kind of Jimmy has said the monster truck version of Pink Floyd, which I think is hilarious. There's also a healthy dash of like Cirque du Soleil is kind of like our part of the intention. We have an amazing team of aerialists and dancers who do a lot of kind of crazy stunts and feats of strength, and that part is a lot of fun too. So it is very much a what are we going to do this time, and how do we figure it out?
And how much rehearsal goes into that? Because obviously you guys have other stuff going on. This isn't you're not going on a huge world tour, but like you do these two huge world tour like shows twice a year. So like how much rehearsal? How much do you guys get together? I mean, you got 10 or so people in the band, and then obviously all the other people involved and stuff. So the
music part of it's usually like 2 to 3 weeks. Like three or four.
You can knock all that out and get it all.
Well, now now that we did have. Now that we play together more often, that helps a lot. And
there's a core of songs that you have to do.
That's right.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
You've got to do this. The Wall stuff.
Yeah. So there's somewhere like between 2 and 3.
You can crush because you've done it a million times.
Yeah. After 23 years.
Yeah. There's so a lot of the time it's like, okay, let's run everything down. All right, we're going to play this again. All right, that kind of sucked. Do it one more time, and then we'll spend a lot of time, trying to figure out the new. Like if we have new songs coming in, we're like, how are we going to accomplish that? Because a lot of it was done in the studio, right, with like tape collages and like giant walls of synthesizers that you aren't practical for a live performance. So a lot of it is trying to figure out how to reconstruct things.
Yeah.
And then we.
It's funny when I was reading that book about Syd Barrett. It's like from the beginning they were really into the show. Like it was very LSD driven. The writing of the stuff, the performance of the stuff, and the experience of the stuff, right?
It was all in that
right.
realm.
So the visuals were super important from the very first show that they did out. I'm reading this and learning this about the band.
That's cool that you're reading it leading up to the show too. You're probably going to do some crazy shit from that book. You're like, oh, I'm going to do
well, not this year.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Wait.
Not right now. We're not. We got a plan. We're sticking to the plan.
Out of a can or anything.
Maybe Christmas will incorporate what are your findings.
Yeah, one of your findings. Like, hey man, so listen, man, I'm gonna go drop from a helicopter,
and
I'm gonna parachute in with my saxophone. But no, it is so much about the experience, especially because we have so much content that we can look at. Everybody has exposed to everything in the world you can find if you want to really find it. But if you guys create this experience that's one of a kind, and it is so St. Louis to us,
It is. It's a family affair because like everyone from the production guys to the visuals to the band, it's all St. Louis people, all people who've worked with each other in national bands, touring acts and stuff like that. And they've known each other for 20 years. And so the whole thing is a St. Louis born and bred event.
Yeah, that's so cool. So what? How many shows? I mean, you guys might not know how many shows you've done, but I'm sure that
I have a framed poster, a framed photograph
of every
that was like, this is how many shows we've done between, and I don't remember what the number is, and I should have taken a picture of it.
So it started out with a cup, like in the winter, it would be, let's do the show at the pageant. So they sold that out. I think the first year they did 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went up to like 3, 4, or 5. And the most we've ever done is 8.
I think that's right.
8 in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 8 in one
run.
go.
So Christmas, we do a whole bunch in a row.
Yeah.
Right.
Do at least 2 weekends around Christmas.
Double shows. Yeah.
Like before and after Christmas. The summer one's always just a one-off.
Yeah. And we've done, and that we've played in Kansas City several times. We played in Springfield, Missouri several times. Played in Chicago once, which was awesome. I wish we could go back.
Yeah. House of
House of Blues.
House of Blues, really.
That was a good time.
Badass. And it's always a solo show.
I don't think there was a Columbia. There was a Columbia in
there? In the early
very, very early.
Maybe I
didn't make
at that outdoor venue?
that one.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Is it
I
that
thought
outdoor
for
venue?
sure. No, it was at the Blue Note.
Oh, the Blue Note.
Am I making this up? I remember us like running into each other in the parking lot at Terry Welty's in Overland, and you guys were like loading up a trailer. I was like, "Ooh, where are you going?"
Maybe we did.
I was like, "We're gonna play the Blue Note." I was like, "That's amazing." Now maybe I'm making that up. I might be wrong.
Maybe that was even before we started doing Kansas City, Springfield.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That might
that's
have
the
been
way I
our
remember.
first
Like
road.
we were going, the Urge was leaving to go somewhere,
That
and you
might have
guys
been
were
the
leaving to
first
somewhere.
road thing. Yeah, you're right. That might have been the first road thing we did.
So that's amazing. I mean, that you guys just get to play music with all your friends all the time.
It is
It's pretty badass.
It is
So
the
fortunate.
greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
So you guys both full-time musicians then, or
No. I have a day job. Dave is
I will
a
soon
lifer.
have a day job.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
No, I mean, 97, I started doing music for a living. So, so far so good.
Nah, not a boy. Not a
yeah,
boy.
that's amazing, dude. That's I mean, it's very hard to be that's what I wish that
kidding.
St.
Yeah.
Louis, and I was talking to some people about like Nashville, and Nashville has a lot of full-time musicians that play up and down the street. Like, how can we create that type of energy where if you are just a solo keys player, like, can you play somewhere 3 nights a week and make a living? It's just like, it's real because it's like we need live music. It's so important. We noticed that when that shit happened and we were shut down for a little bit, you notice how important those shows were.
It's coming back.
You're never going to take a show for granted anymore.
It's definitely rebounding.
Yeah.
I think it's even. I think it's even. Yeah. I think that there. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I think that certainly speaking just for myself, but I think speaking for people that I talk to, there's no more. Oh, I'm not going because it's Tuesday. That I think that shit is over with.
Oh, I hear
people
ya.
are,
Yeah.
like I think people are like, nope, we're going.
Nothing makes you want to do something like not being able to do something.
Yeah. It's like, I would like, but
Damn it,
in
I'm going out.
2019, I'm not going to that show, but I'm going tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like it anyway.
Absolutely. So what can St. Louis do? What can we do to help push this show? Like, what kind of support do you guys need? Like, is there anything you can tell people about what they can? I mean, we already talked about what to expect, but like, this is going to be summer. It's going to be at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. It's a huge venue.
I guess they could go to the event, the Facebook event, and share that.
Yeah.
Sure.
They could share it on. I'm sure there's an Instagram thing.
I'm sure there is.
That's not our department.
I know.
That's Julie Lally who got us here.
Yeah. Shout out Julie. She's
We
awesome.
should probably ask
Yeah.
her. We should probably ask her before we got on here.
Yeah, that would have been a good
But-
question.
No, Julie's. She's a friend of mine. I'll talk to her. We'll get that Instagram shit
Maybe
shared.
Yeah, I think
Do
so.
a visual or something.
Yeah.
But really, you cannot beat, and Dave, you were touching on this too. You can't beat being being in the same room with a bunch of people playing. You can't beat it. It's the greatest thing in the world. Or even in a big. I love going to see bands. It's I'll go see a band that I've never heard of, and people say, "Hey, you want to go see Jim and the Jimsons?" I go, "Absolutely, let's go."
Yeah.
I'm buying. So I just you can't beat it. It's the greatest thing in the world, in my opinion.
I agree. I can't get enough.
So if you want to see some pretty cool stuff,
Right.
you could come on down to the gig, and I guarantee. No, I'm not going to say it. Weather's probably going to be great. That's my. I always say it's going to be fine.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. It's gonna
One
be
of these days,
beautiful.
it's going to bite me in the ass.
It's going to be beautiful. It's July 8th, guys. Get your tickets. So tickets are affordable for this too, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not. That's the thing is that I can't stress that part enough either. Like it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Hey, come on down. We're
It's
gonna
amazing.
have a
'Cause I was
good
trying
time.
to go to a show at one of the other venues in town. I'm like, man, like $250, to sit on the floor seats. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be close, but it's like you pay $65 and you're way up top. And it's like, and then the ticket fees, bro. Don't get me started on the ticket fees.
Now here's the thing. I will say this. Now, obviously in all manner of all acts defense, part of the reason that it's so difficult to take this show on the road is that to take it to 20 different cities would cost a fortune.
Right.
And at that point, then you are talking about, it's like, so part of the reason is that, and if all we have to do is drive down the street, hey, that's no problem.
Yeah,
I
you
can
guys
do
all
that.
drive yourself. You park in the VIP in the back, and then you're good. Yeah.
And they bring all the equipment and the screens and
right.
everything.
Putting this on the road is
a few
we just played at Lake of the Ozarks, and it was a blast, and we had a really good time. And that was, you go, oh, this is expensive to do.
Yeah, you're like,
and it's not even that far from home. You're going, oh,
yeah, and you
boy, this
down
really
semis.
cost a fortune.
2 or 3 semis, probably.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't on the. Yeah,
and then you guys all had to stay there. And,
it was a very, very high level production, but just getting it 3 hours down the street was like, oh.
Oh yeah.
So do you guys talk about the long term? I mean, you guys been doing this for a long time, and do you guys talk about that mission of like how like you're just gonna keep rolling until the wheels fall off? Is that what the word in the room is? Is like we're just gonna keep fucking
doing this? We're gonna have to take that hook. We'll be on our walkers.
There's not even
until there's 100 people in there, and you're like, all right, it's probably time to hang up.
We're just gonna replace you with a younger version. It's like gonna be like Menudo. We're gonna just like it's like, ladies and gentlemen, Dave's last show, and then just like we take Dave away, and then we bring another guy on or another lady on, and they play. It's like, great, you're hired, and they're gonna do the same to me. Like, just roll me out and go.
And you guys think
put another person there
forever and ever.
Right.
I don't see.
There's no reason not to.
The music's not going to die.
True. Yeah.
The music is always there, and our appreciation for it is not unique, right? Like, there's millions and millions of people all over the planet who love and obsess over these songs. Unlike any other band that they ever listen to.
Still one of the best song albums of all time, I think.
100%.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Is it really?
Yeah. Still.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
I think it's back on the Hot 100 now, or back on the 100 album chart. It fell off for like a year or two.
It's just been steady on the charts forever.
I think it's I don't know what the record is, but it's the longest run of weeks on the 100 album chart in history, and it cannot be beaten. It's like. It's been on there for decades.
That's incredible. So tell us about the process of, so you guys are a tribute band. You play beautiful covers of all these songs, but tell us about the process of what that's like to play these amazing songs and have people like, what kind of pride do you have? And because you have to have pride to play these. Like you can't just like play them half-assed.
No.
You cannot half-ass the songs because people are going to feel it in the stage. They're going to be like, hey, this
100%.
is,
Well,
so
just for example, the first year when we did it at Mississippi Nights, I thought, okay, it's time to play the solo. So I just played whatever the hell I wanted to.
Right.
Just, hey, what do you think about that, kids? Yeah. And they were just kind of looking at me blankly.
Yeah, they're like, I know how that goes.
Wait,
that wasn't it.
Okay.
That's really funny.
That once I got off the stage, I was like, oh, dude, you got to play the solo from the live version from wherever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Because that's the one where they let the sax take off,
Right.
It's the best solo. It's better than the studio version.
Okay.
So yeah, I had to learn the solo, and it's so perfect. Like the way it's phrased out and everything, it's just an amazing solo. Well, the one I'm talking about is
Shine on Your Crazy
Shine on Your Crazy Diamond. It's just a wonderfully crafted solo.
And you have to do it. Like you're like,
you have to do it.
You got to take pride in this, and you got to kill it.
Yeah.
There is a lot of gentle suggestions happening in the rehearsal space. Sometimes, to be frank, less so now, because now I think that the kind of those specific moments are everybody's on the same page.
Right.
But there was certainly in the first half of our little trip here, it's like, hey man, like I think that you kind of take people aside and you go, I think that's not right. I think you're saying like.
So do you have fans kind of? How close are you guys to the fans? I mean, you guys have the same people coming to a lot of these shows.
100%.
And like, do they like give you like, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
song
suggestions.
Yeah, we've done songs that because of people said you should do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have groupies?
Yes and no. They all live with us and or are married to it.
That's right.
And it's mostly like, okay, you've done your gig. It's time to go home now. Yep.
Yeah, like no, how late can you stay out? So I'm sure like in '99, you guys were partying a little bit different than you party now. Like you guys probably can't party like you used to. It'll hit you harder the next day.
I just got to say the first 10, 12 years, I mean, it was crazy town.
You guys would go wild.
We did.
It was crazy town.
Also, as we got a little bit older, we were like, there's a lot more of a, okay, I'm going to have one beer, and then right before we go on, I'm going to have a shot. Like, as opposed, like, all right, we're going to
like a prescribed,
get out there like a professional and do this gig.
Like you had a list. You're like, okay, so
well, and you get better at
and then water, and then go pee, and then go this.
Like everything else, you get better at it as you get older. You get better at drinking also. When you
That's true.
Yeah. Well, you know how to manage it. You know how to manage it.
Yeah, you got to.
But I'm sure, like, I think of like band life, and I just think of like people, and then people are just crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's different for I don't know. Like
there's only been a couple of face plants over the years. I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, you mean El Monstero or in general?
No, El Monstero is what I'm talking about.
I think we're pretty well behaved. I think that in the early aughts, it was a little bit more of a party than it is now.
Yeah.
Now it's now there's people are like, all right,
it's dialed in. It's a job. It's a job.
It is.
It's a job, and you guys have to practice, and you have to be prepared.
I've fallen off the rail a couple of times. It wasn't alcohol related, but I fell off.
Oh well, that's a feat of dexterity. You're doing something I wouldn't do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
not a chance. But in terms of that, what you were saying about, it's very much like a granular thing. We try and focus on what's most important, what's the part of this song that people are listening to at the time, right? Because it would be kind of disingenuous to say that we obsess over every single little bit, because you can't. Right? Some of these records are very, very old, and you can't go. I don't know exactly what he's doing there. I know that there's an acoustic guitar there.
There's a lot of layers.
There's a lot of stuff going on. But in terms
it changes over time, because it's like, maybe this is popular right now. Like maybe keys are in right now, and they want to do better. I don't know.
Well, no, that's an interesting question, because a lot of stuff is in terms of the mix of, like, let's say Dark Side of the Moon. It's not exactly super easy to hear the Hammond organ, right? Yeah. Like, I know it's there, and in the places where it's exposed, you know exactly what you're going to do, right? But sometimes when you're just kind of doing it, you're like,
what was Alan Parsons thinking?
I don't know what's happening. Like I know that I can hear something go wah, 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 wah. I don't know what the I don't know what the inversion is, or what the okay. So I mean, truly, but in terms of things that are like exposed and featured pieces, those are dissected. Like Mark Quinn, our singer, knows exactly what amp was used and what guitar it was, and what the weight of the strings were. He does a lot
of research. Yeah.
So he'll say, oh, I think that was this, and I think that was
right.
So
an Echoplex.
Yeah. So that part is pretty fussed over, pretty specifically. But some of it you just kind of go out there and rock out.
Yeah, Jimmy used to use a tape loop just to be authentic there for a while, but they're very unreliable, of course. The tapes break, and then you throw things.
Ready for the gig? No.
Nope, I'm not ready.
I'm gonna have to go find another one of these things.
That's fine.
I'm sure they have them at Guitar Center. No, they don't.
It's changed so much, and it's like crazy how the internet, like, I don't know, like some of the bands that you guys are in was like obviously pre-internet, but now like the new ones you're in, like you said, that group, like you guys probably are pumping stuff out on the internet, like on TikTok and Instagram.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And it's like crazy. Like the one thing I have is like, that the Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, when it blew up again because of that one video and now they're like doing shows off this song again, right? Because it just what happened on the
Resurgence,
internet. It caught steam, and it's like some of these rappers and pop guys, like, or singers, are like, oh, one song goes viral and then you're successful for a little bit. It's like, it's crazy how like that didn't used to happen. Like people didn't just blow up on one song and then fall. I mean, I'm sure they did. They did. I want to learn about that a little bit more, because you guys have so much experience. Like, did people like just pop off?
Yeah,
and they just
they
died?
Did in terms of the perception of it, right? In terms of the public's perception of it, absolutely, things could appear to happen almost instantaneously. But the reality of it is, that record was in the can 3 months ago, right? It had to go to the record plant well before you heard it. So the people's perception of it could have, the concept of the overnight sensation or anything like that isn't necessarily new, but in terms of technologically speaking, certainly now that is like a thing that can happen. It's like I put this on the internet last night, and I woke up this morning, I have 1 million followers.
I wrote it and recorded it yesterday.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's real. But guys, thank you for coming on the show. I mean, it's really cool to get to talk to people that are literally in this world, and you guys are a part of this unit, this 10, 12, 15, 40, 50 people, whoever's all involved, of like putting
as far as the entire staff.
I think it's like 50.
Yeah, sound guys and
I think
visual guys.
You guys use a lot of the
dancers.
same teams all the
Yes.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the entire
Tight-knit.
team of people is like 50 something.
Yeah.
With
Wow.
everybody involved.
Technicians and
Which
guys
is
tuning the guitars and
So that you
guys
can just
running
focus
the
on what you're good
lights
at. Like, because like, back in the day, you used to have to do everything. You like be setting up everything. And,
well, yeah. I mean, and also it's not everybody involved is very good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like there's not any slouches in the El Monstero camp.
Mm-hmm.
There's people are very good at it from no matter what technical aspect might be being covered at the time. They're all exceptional.
what's the biggest show you guys ever did? Do you know?
It's got to be.
I think it was Forest Park.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I think it was 18,000.
Is that right?
18,000
I believe that was
people?
our record. Have to ask Kevin.
Yeah, we played on the hill by the
Art Museum.
by the art museum.
Oh, you played on Art Hill and you just had
Art
the
Hill.
whole- the Art Hill by the Art Museum. Or the hill.
Have you guys ever seen that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he's a cop and he goes to kindergarten? I can't remember what the name of that. What is the name of that movie? I can't remember what it is. Anyway, yes, on Art Hill.
Yeah.
Good God.
That hill by the Art Museum.
Well, that was
Yes,
So
that
wait,
one.
where were you guys
huge
playing at? Were you at the
undertaking.
top or the bottom of it?
I think Kevin just did it as a challenge. He's like, "Oh, we're doing this shit." You know?
The intention, I think we weren't supposed to be the first or last band that did that. I think the idea was that they were going to, hey, we have this beautiful spot. What if we try and do
And they
this?
were supposed to have bigger shows come in, like have all
Just
these
more
people. Yeah.
at the very least. But
I feel
we
like
were
Gateway Arch. Have you guys played down the Arch Park or anything
Nope.
like that?
No.
They did that a lot too, right?
They had like Keith Sweat down there. They had a bunch of old.
I saw Guster there. They were amazing. I saw
4th of July, they always had stuff
Yeah.
under the
Can we
arch.
get you guys to sell at Busch Stadium?
no.
No.
Not likely.
It'd be like, where's everybody?
Not
There's like it's
likely.
like filled up.
Yeah. Just
no.
the floor. Just the floor.
No.
Just around the diamond. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just in the middle of the
It's just the
diamond.
infield.
Yeah.
we could do the infield maybe.
But 18,000. I mean, Riverport or no, I'm saying
Yeah.
Riverport. Hollywood
Hollywood
Casino.
Casino
Shout out to
Amphitheater.
Hollywood Casino.
That's right.
Hollywood Casino.
I mean, that's like I don't know how many people fill that. But,
Maximum capacity is 20,000.
Yeah.
Ish, something like that.
but how much to look good? To look like this?
Yeah, anywhere between from the stage,
Yeah.
like
It all looks good.
yeah, half that. Because you don't see all the
The little dots.
you don't see all the empty space in between all the people. You see, wow, look at all those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually put somewhere between anywhere between 13 and 15,000 people in there.
Yeah.
There's room to move about the cabin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that about Art Hill. That's interesting.
Well, you also didn't know it was called Art Hill.
That's right. Well, I did. I knew that.
It's just the hill by the Art Museum.
Yeah, it's just that, what is that?
No, so where were you guys playing there? So like the hill obviously goes up. There's the big horse at the top.
We were backed right up against the water.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, so
right
you
up
were down and
against the-
people were looking down.
That's
at
right.
you.
Yeah.
So kind of like Red
kind of
Rocks where everybody
natural
looks down.
amphitheater
at
kind
you.
of a thing.
Yeah, it was a
Right.
fun night.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
It was crazy cool.
I think it was maybe not as loud as we had hoped.
Yeah,
we kind of got there, and that
Well,
might
we had to bring everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything
the
you could
stage,
find.
Yeah,
the
right.
amps, everything. Yeah. So it was a big undertaking.
I think when we got there, I think it was a bit of a surprise that, hey, you can only go above this dB. I think that was a thing that we
Right.
didn't realize
Yeah,
was going to
there was.
happen.
Because you're like, well, there's a lot of people
limit.
here.
No, it was aimed at the zoo.
Oh, okay.
Basically, and the zoo was like, you're not going to be scaring the elephants and stuff.
That's exactly right.
They were there
That's
like,
exactly right.
You can't do that.
So that's
It was
why.
the
That's
animals
probably why
we
they
had to
didn't do it.
worry
And they
about.
used you
Right,
guys and
that's
like, we're
it.
never going to do
Yeah.
that.
I forgot about that.
It was
That's right.
it was pretty quiet. That's the way I remember it. But it was a beautiful scene, and it was beautiful. It was
So
fun
most
to
of your
play.
shows are insane. Like it's just loud as hell, loud as you can get it.
It's
Or no?
loud enough.
Loud
There's a
enough.
big difference between being
loud
too
as
loud.
hell is loud as
Yeah.
enough. Yeah.
Right.
It's never too loud.
Right.
It's loud enough.
Yeah, loud enough.
We
So
couldn't quite get to loud enough.
Hollywood Casino, you can kind of let
That is a
let
good
her rip.
time.
oh, you can blow it out there. That's going to be
That's a good time.
Yeah.
And our sound engineer Rusty Shaw is one of the best, and
Absolutely
it is a
right.
good time.
Yeah, that'll be incredible. So, guys, July 8th, get up your tickets. Now, this is the STL Bucket List show, so I got to talk to you guys a little bit about. Are you guys both born in St. Louis? Or living here?
Close enough.
Well, you know what? I was born here, but I grew up a couple hours south of here.
Okay, so
I was born at St. Mary's.
Yeah, my dad was in the Air Force when I was a kid, so I got here like second grade.
Okay.
Close enough.
So moved
Okay.
around. So basically, you've lived in St. Louis for the last
That's right. All the important years.
long years.
Yeah.
Long years. I keep calling you guys old on accident, but
Well, I'll tell you, in my day,
so yeah, long
used to
time.
wear an onion on my belt. It was the style at the time.
very good.
So you guys are lived in St. Louis. The Bucket List show is about about the best places to do, best things to do in St. Louis, best places to eat. So tell us about some of your bucket list spots. We'll start with you, Dave. What are some of your best favorite places to eat? What are maybe some of your favorite like local venues, maybe your favorite parks, things to do? Just a couple things that you like.
List,
like if you got somebody coming in to see you live at the El Monstero show, like where are you taking them? Where are some spots where you're like, hey, you're going to be here for 3 days. I'm going to take you here, here, and here.
I used to really like Tivoli. It's gone now.
Oh.
The Italian place. There's a Thai place, Thai kitchen. Thai kitchen is very, very good.
Yeah, love Thai food.
And there is Soul Taco.
Yeah,
Soul Taco, one of my favorites. I gotta say.
Yeah, Soul Taco is really, really good.
Yeah.
That's right by the pad. They got one on Del Mar right there.
Yeah, and Pie's gone too. Used to go to Pie for pizza across the street.
I've got answers to all those.
Go for it.
All right. So there's an awesome place called Press.
Yeah.
That makes pizza that is unlike any pizza that you've ever had in your life. And it is delightful. And they have a Big Mac pizza, which is amazing. They're only available on Mondays, and it's very, very good.
And they do draft cocktails and a bunch of cool stuff over there.
Yes, that is an awesome. So if you want to go check that place out, it is terrific.
Bucket list spot.
Yes. There's also Rockstar Tacos on the Hill, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And also on the Hill, I finally got to go to Sado, and it was something else.
Really? Yeah,
it was out of control good. Couldn't believe it. Like, do you like sushi?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, me too, right? I was like, I've always like since I could, procure it, right? I remember a time where you just couldn't get sushi in the grocery store because I'm old.
Yeah.
And
I was like, yeah, of course. Back in my day.
And but it is something else. It's on us completely separate.
And
like
the dining
temperature
experience.
Of it's perfect. Yeah.
What's it called again?
It's called Sado, and it's on the Hill.
So it's the same guy. The same guy that owns Endo.
That's right.
Endo is incredible as well, but Sado is like on another level. It's like
crazy.
The sashimi. It's definitely higher. It's going to be a higher budget price.
Oh yeah. It's not.
It's not your like $20 sushi trip. It's like $100 person trip, but it's worth it. And he's one of the. I think he's a James Beard chef.
Yeah.
And
the texture of everything is amazing.
Isn't that crazy? It's in the Hill. That's awesome that it's in
Yeah.
the Hill. I think that's so cool that he decided to put one of the best.
As far as
sushi
pizza
spots.
goes, Onesto's is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right down the street from my
I
house.
live in the neighborhood.
Do you really?
Yeah, I live on Lansdowne in
oh my God,
in
we're neighbors.
Brandon.
We're neighbors.
Lansdowne, or I don't want to say exactly where.
Yeah,
I live,
right.
But like right around
48, 72.
Right around Macklin. But we walk up to Russell's for brunch. We walk up
right
to
on.
Russell's.
Yeah, we're neighbors. That's crazy.
And then I go to Clementine's way too much.
Oh,
But
Clementine's is
Onesto has one of the best happy hours because they do the half price pitcher and then the garlic knots that they serve.
That's right.
I eat an uncontrollable amount
And
of those garlic knots.
what's the wine thing? The punch. The wine.
Sangria.
Sangria.
Their sangria is amazing too.
Good. Nice. That's
Yeah.
good
Are you a
one.
South City guy too?
I'm going to go.
Huh?
Oh,
yeah.
South City guy too? Oh, okay. We're all South City.
Yeah.
So I'm more closer to Maplewood, but yeah.
Yeah, but the best area. So that's cool. So yeah, Russell's is a good brunch spot. I mean, there's tons of good food. If you're a big foodie, it sounds like you're a foodie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it's one of the most amazing things about being a human being.
Is to eat.
I mean, the incredible variety.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to do it 3 times a day.
That's right.
It's
Well,
awesome.
amateur.
I mean,
Amateur. No,
3
but
to
St.
5
Louis
times
punches
a day.
above her weight. 3 to 5.
You forgot second breakfast and fourth meal. Clearly.
right.
This segment brought to you by.
Yeah, we got to get sponsor money from all
That's
these
right.
restaurants. So, but no, appreciate you guys for coming on, guys. Scoop up tickets. Live Nation STL, July 8th. We have Bill and Dave in here. There's a bunch of other people, guys. Stay up to date on social media, but don't miss the show this time. You got to go.
Forgive me for interrupting you. I'm terribly sorry. We have not mentioned the fact that Don Felder from the Eagles is opening the show.
Right.
So if you like the Eagles
right.
and would actually like to see a living legend in person,
Right.
you should come down and see Don Felder because he's like it's like, oh my God, there he is. He's one of those guys.
A heavy metal fan.
Yeah.
If you remember the movie,
You go, oh my God, that's
Heavy
Don
Metal,
Felder.
Yeah.
He wrote that. That's
right.
Theme song.
Well, I mean, he wrote
in heavy metal.
Okay.
That's Don
And he's
Felder.
playing with a band too. Or
He's going to do one song with El Monstero.
Cool.
People who are in the know can guess what it is probably. Yeah. We won't say because Kevin will go, well, you shouldn't give away the surprise.
Right.
But he's going to open the show, and I mean, he is a fantastic guitar player and a
So that's what I was going to ask
legit
you. Do you guys
legend.
usually have open, or do you guys do a lot of solo shows? The Christmas shows are solo typically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you guys bring in guests and surprises and all types of crazy stuff.
Yeah, like guest singers from other bands and people that people know in the musician community. Yeah.
Yeah.
The summer shows typically will have some sort of opening act. Like we did a band called Celebration Day, which is Also, it comprised of several members of El Monstero, so they had to do double duty. But we did it with
You're
the
in that
same
band too?
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, I was motioning.
looked at
I was
him
just
like you're
motioning
like-
toward
I'm like,
you know.
oh,
As you know,
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, Dave also in the band.
But yeah,
He's the groupie. He's
Jimmy
the
and
real
John and
groupie.
Mark. Oh yeah.
I played 4 songs. The rest of the time, I'm just carousing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But we had we've done a couple of shows with the St. Louis Philharmonic, which was a joy.
Yeah.
Last year, Living Color, if you're familiar with Living Color, also legendary band. They opened the show and did several songs with us. This year's Don Felder, and we're hoping to do more of that in the future. Nikki Glazer came and did Have a Cigar with us last Christmas, and that was fun.
Nikki's amazing.
Yeah,
she
she's
came on
awesome.
our show before. She's
Yeah.
dope. She's funny.
Yeah.
She sings a little bit too.
No, exactly. Well, she had just
She's
won
a
the Masked
Swiftie,
Singer.
though, right? She's a Oh yeah, she
Yeah,
won the
she
Masked Singer.
literally just won
But
the Masked
she's a big
Singer.
Swiftie. Like she will literally like sing any Taylor
Her
Swift song.
Instagram feed tells me she was at the show in Chicago.
Yeah.
If that's correct.
okay.
But yeah, don't forget Don Felder from the Eagles.
Yeah, sorry we
Also
didn't mention
over-
that.
No,
we wanted
you
to
for
learn
bringing-
just a little bit about more of the
Yeah.
story. But yeah, it's going to be an incredible show. Get your tickets. There will be tickets available. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Thank
All
you for
ages.
checking out the STL Bucket List Show. The episode's sponsored by the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis. Guys, tap in with El Monstero, pull up to the show, and if you missed this one, if you're out of town on summer vacation with your family, pull up to one of the Christmas shows.
Absolutely.
Let's get it. Thank you guys for coming
Thanks for
on.
the
I
help.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a
Appreciate
lot.
it, man.
Yeah, thank you.
What's up, St. Louis? Don't forget that Mattress Direct is another sponsor of our episode. And if you guys are looking for a great night's sleep and a great shopping experience for your mattress, head over to Mattress Direct.
Guys, the website's stlmattressdirect.com. They have 18 area locations. There's a chance that you're pretty close to one. There's something different about shopping local. So go head over there, get yourself a good night's sleep. And this episode is also presented by the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis. They're the largest public funder of arts and art programming right here in St. Louis. And if you didn't know, St. Louis is an arts town.
Today they rep St. Louis, yeah. They rep St. Louis. They rep St. Louis.